Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve a system of inequalities. So what is meant by a system of inequalities is you could be presented with more than one inequality. So say you have three inequalities as shown here. The solution of the system of inequalities is actually going to be the area on a graph where these inequalities all intersect one another. So in order to find that without using a calculator, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to graph each inequality. So for this sort of problem, you definitely want to use a system where you have many different colors to choose from, such as a web whiteboard. If you're not using a web whiteboard, I would recommend using uh, multicolored pencils or pens in order to do this. All right, the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to graph a coordinate axis system. And now we're going to have to graph this first inequality. All right, to graph this first inequality, we're going to graph each of these points. So we're going to graph the point x equals -1, and then we're going to graph on the x-axis the point 2, 3, 4, where x equals 4. Now, you could treat like each of these inequalities, um, you need to think of them in terms of areas. This first part of the inequality is all values of x that are greater than or equal to -1. So what this actually means is you're going to have to draw a line at the point or at this all values of y where x equals -1. And then all values of x that are greater than or equal to -1 are all is the whole area to the right of this line where x equals -1. Then another part of this inequality is all values for x that are less than or equal to 4. So what we're going to have another line here at x equals 4, which is a vertical line. And then we're going to shade, since the first inequality is all values for x that are less than or equal to 4, you're going to shade everything to the left of that line. So this first inequality is kind of like this rectangular area between these two vertical lines, x equals -1, and then x equals 4. So I'll call this inequality A, and then I'll mark it up here. All right, so now let's take the second inequality, and let's call that inequality B. So similar to how we did with the first one, we're going to first look at this first part of the inequality, and we're going to graph, it's going to be a horizontal line, and we're going to graph and shade all values for y that are greater than or equal to -2. So we're running out of colors here. We're going to graph the line y equals -2, and then we would shade all values for y greater than -2. And then we look at the second part of the inequality, and this is all values for y that are less than or equal to 5. So let's see if we can find another color here. So we're going to have to find this horizontal line, y equals 5, and then we're going to have to shade all areas less than or equal to 5. So y equals 5 is going to be something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to draw a line for the line y equals 5, and then we're going to shade everything underneath that line, up to and including that line. So right now, it's looking like our solution is going to be somewhere between this yellow line. I'll just kind of highlight it a little bit in with black. Okay, so now we have a final inequality. Okay, now this final inequality, we're going to call this inequality C. Oh, and then similar to like how I did with that first inequality A, I'm going to, this is the line y equals -2. The green line is y equals 5. Okay, so I'm going to call this area is inequality B, between the line y equals 5 and y equals -2. And now we're going to work with inequality C. And what we're first going to have to do, you kind of treat it as if it were an equation, and you want to solve for y. So we have 5y is greater than x plus 11. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to divide both sides of the inequality by 5. 5 divided by 5 equals 1. So y is going to be greater than or equal to x divided by 5 is 1 over 5x. And then we're going to have plus 11 over 5. So we're going to have a line at where y equals 1/5 x plus 11 over 5. And then we're going to shade everything above that line because we have a greater than or equal to sign. So this is my origin point, 0, 0. If I plug in a value for, make a little XY table. If I plug in a value of 0 for x, then I get an x value of 11 over 5, which is a little bit over 2. So at x equals 0, it's going to be approximately there. Let's see if I can find a color that might work. I run out of colors. Okay. And then another possible point will be if x equals 5, then y would be equal to 1 plus 11 over 5. So 16 over 5, a little bit over 3. 16 over 5. So the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, a little bit over 3 would be something like that. Then what you do is you connect that. You can write that line. Y is great. The line is y equals 1/5 x plus 11 over 5. And then you would shade everything above that line. So the intersection of all of these inequalities, which is the solution, is kind of messy, but it's going to look something like this area right here. And this mess is actually what your teacher wants to see. As a solution set for this inequality. When the instructions ask you to graph, they want you to draw something like this when it's all done by hand. And then, graphing calculators and computers make this all neater, but when they're asking you to do things by hand, this is the sort of thing that they want to see. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. You can send me a message. Please like, comment this video, share it. I'm happy to help you out. Get in touch with me. Take care and have a great day. Thanks.